That's not going to start the stream yet. Okay. It's just preparing the stream. So what's going to happen here is we'll go back into here. And you see now this has changed.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we are live. Okay, well, that's fine. This is the fun of doing live stuff there, Zachary. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, doing good.
All right. Well, let's take it off the share screen here for a minute. We'll get to that, I think, shortly.
Let me turn off my stuff here.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't get the go live button here on YouTube like I normally do, so that's okay. Impromptu start.
Right. So if I go to the YouTube, I see. Go to my channel. If I go to my channel, we'll be like live. I guess we are live.
Yeah, we are live.
We are live. Awesome.
Live and having fun.
Yeah, live and having fun. So if anyone, well, let me get the. Now, how do I get this link here? I like to share it again.
Oh, I'm not sure my screen yet either. Let's start that video. There we go.
Right.
Horribly organized today, aren't we?
Yes.
Well, the choice.
We figure it out.
We got her done. How's it going?
So I can just copy the streaming link and then post it, right? Yeah.
Okay. You certainly can. Now that shareable link, the one that I showed you.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting used to it. So if you guys are watching where I am learning live, the live world.
Sometimes you just got to jump into it both feet, man, and see what happens. But we're having fun. That's the important part. We're learning and having fun.
Yeah. So I think we'll let me post it real quick so we can get everyone.
Yeah. Rally the troops here. We should have chat going here too. Let me just check that. Go team. All right. So we got a chat? We should have a chat. I threw this out to a bunch of folks in my my Discord there, so hopefully a couple of them will show up and chat with us.
Yeah. I am doing the same.
And hopefully this. I'm gonna echo here for a second. Oh no, good. I had that muted. Okay, we do have chat. Okay, good.
Okay, cool. And is it posting? Okay. Come on. No, I'm good. I'm going. Okay, that was. All right, cool. Now we're good. We're good. This is fun.
We're doing it. We're doing it. Okay. So chat should be active. Looks like it is. And we should be good. So we've only got one person watching this, so that's okay. Who's ever watching this, how you doing there?
Good. Oh, we have. Well, how do you? I see the Matt and me, and then you probably have the participants, right? So.
Yeah. Actually, I might be the one that's watching us.
Yeah.
I got this pulled open so I can see the.
It's okay. I just put it live here, so we'll probably wait a couple minutes here. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So how you doing, man? How's everything in the Canadian parts of the world?
Oh, frosty today, man. Frosty. We're well below zero. We're probably we're below the -0 on the American side there too. It's not very nice today, but hey, it comes with the territory. That's why we get the good legal plants and whatnot up here that help carry us through the winter. So
no, for sure. I mean, that's why I'm sure that 4,000 watt heater is coming into.
Yes, absolutely. It may be overkill for my grow space. I'm running a 50. Well, it's about a 55 square foot grow space, and 4,000 watts of heat, which is totally overkill. But a good deal on the heater. So hey, it works, right?
How many? So how many plants do you? How many different plants do you have?
Out there right now, I usually run about a dozen different plants. given what I typically like to run. But for the most part, we're doing all sorts of stuff. Like behind me, I've got some some aloe plants. I got a pepper plant there, and you can't quite see it, but there's a tomato plant that just hasn't quite yet sprouted behind me. But that's
my dog. When no one's listening, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's good to have critics, right? It keeps us honest.
Well, we just got my boxer a girlfriend English bulldog puppy. So.
Oh, right on.
Because the wife thought 2 kids and a dog's not enough.
It keeps it interesting, right? Keeps it interesting.
All right, okay. Let me, so I put it up here. This is we've hopefully we get some traction here, and I did post it on my channels. So let me see. This is what through.
There's a couple of people in here. Looks like I'm gonna.
But it's you and me.
I can't get some folks on here as well to come chat with us. Friday afternoon. What else are you going to be doing? I mean, holidays are starting here soon for most people. I'm already on holidays. That's why I'm not working my day job today. But let's see here.
You can invite. Okay.
All right.
I just went through on all my social channels, so that was 3 minutes ago. So we'll see.
Nice. All right. There we go. Put the shout out there. There we go. Yeah. Hey, Miss K, what's going on?
Okay, we got some in the
chat. Yeah, some folks are going to start streaming in here, I think. Do a little grow talk, little controller talk.
Oh yeah. So I'm on the Zoom. So in the Zoom, I just see you and I, but I think I have to go somewhere else to see the other people, right?
Yeah, you'll get the chat window for on the YouTube page there itself. So yeah, we're doing a little experimental streaming here today, cutting our teeth together.
Yeah. Oh, Miss K. Okay, nice. Now I get it. Okay, so I'm sorry that I'm not as hip to the script as Matt is here. We got Miss K's garden. Hey, guys. Hey, we're doing good. You are the first to come to our little party here. Pre-holiday party, because I'm the rookie learning how to operate. Right, so we're happy that you're here with us. So.
All right. So what are we going to talk about here today, Zachary?
So, first of all, thank you. I mean, hopefully we got some more people coming in. Now, they said 3. 3 is a party, 4 is too much, but I say screw those rules when it comes to YouTube Live.
There we go. Now we got the crew.
Now I feel good. I was like, if there's crickets, you get a little nervous. But for all those that are streaming in, thank you for coming in. My name is Zach. I'm with the Niwa team. We have Matt, which I'm sure you guys all know. He's one of our really great partner growers. He's always given me great knowledge on the grow game and the garden game. And you're a newbie too. Good. That's great. So we're going to talk about, I want to learn about what Matt's doing with his garden. We're hopefully going to touch into a little bit of the relay aspect, because I know that for all those Canadians and for those over the north area of the U.S., it's getting cold out there, and you're going to need some powerful heat to keeping your plants nice and toasty. So, joining from Israel, nice. Where I think the first scientist to ever discover THC was out of Tel Aviv. So
they do some great science over there. Half Baked's one of our Discord crew there, and a treasured member.
Yes, great. Well, Israel has discovered that. And we also want to kind of answer some questions. I mean, I'll give a little spiel about the Naval Grow Hub. I'm not really here to sell it. If you ever watch any of the IG lives, it's just more about just talking to the community. Welcome. The Naval Grow Hub is a product that we just launched about a year ago. We've kind of been in the industry for 4 years. We were starting with a little automated garden, which, if I tilt the screen, I know it's delayed. The little Niwa one is over there. You can't see it because I'm trying to go live, and then there's the little Niwa. Oh, it's a little blurred. I realize I have the blurred background. But we started with like an automated garden, and we said, you know what, this is too difficult for people to have a constraint. So we spent about a year in R&D talking to growers like Matt and everyone out there, and and just learning about what does a controller, an affordable controller, look like. And out came the Grow Hub, and it's been a fun journey. We're really facilitators of technology because everyone that's on this live and all the people that I speak to are way more educated than I am and our team because of the years of experience, and we rely on that to make the product better, to make it something that you can go away for the weekend and not feel too nervous. So that's a little spiel. Matt, I'd love to kind of you can jump in when I'm sure a lot of these people know you're ready. This is great to see people coming on here, and maybe you can kind of talk about more about your journey and how you use the Grow Hub, and we'll just kind of keep it organic here.
So I think we kind of touched off a little bit at the start there. I've got a bit of a unique grow space in that I'm in a garage in the middle of Western Canada, and we get some pretty wild temperature swings here. So to have something like the Niwa Grow Hub work for me, it's fantastic because it's got basically everything that I need to control the environment. It's got the 4 outlets, which allows for humidification, dehumidification, although I do that a little bit differently, and then heater and some AC. But what I've done with my setup, I think, is a little bit different than most because due to my unique space and that bigger size, I have more of a requirement. Well, one, for heat, and as I mentioned, living here in Western Canada, I mean, today it's around the 0 mark Fahrenheit, so quite cool indeed.
No chilly.
And
no chilly.
I tell you, it's the interface that I came up with. I think really what we wanted to chat about and take a look at. And I'm gonna share a picture here because that's going to allow us to better talk about this. And give me just a second here. I have to click the right things. We want that one there.
And we're doing our best on the technology front. We are growers.
Yeah, we know what's going on here. We got it. We're good.
Oh, okay. Wow. Got it.
So, I mean, the wiring could be a little bit neater, but let's face it, I'm critiquing myself at this point. Now, what I have going on here, of course, is in the middle here. We got the Niwa Grow Hub, and I've got 4 devices connected to it. Now, a couple of devices, well, most of the devices you can't see because they're off screen, but basically what I've got is these 2 outlets, one controlling a humidifier, which sits kind of down over there, and the other one is just going to an exhaust fan. And this is how I do my humidity and dehumidification, as I mentioned earlier. It's a little bit different, but because where I live, it's very, very dry here. So I don't necessarily need to worry about dehumidification, except if we get 2 or 3 days of rain, I have a little bit of trouble balancing the system. However, you probably notice I've got a couple other pieces of equipment in here because, well, the humidifier and the exhaust fan that I use for dehumidification, basically they don't carry a lot of power. I mean, they're a couple amp devices at best. Whereas my AC unit and my 4,000 watt heater, they do, well, carry quite a bit more power in that regard. And because there's, well, it's not so much a limitation, it's just this is built off electrical standards. We can't really have a AC unit that takes approximately 15 amps and a heater that takes approximately 20 amps and plug them directly into the Grow Hub. It just doesn't work off a normal AC circuit. So what I've done here was I built an interface, and that's what you can see right here with these 2 relays. Now, these are solid state relays, meaning they're a switch inherently. That's all a relay is. And this acts as a way to interface. Now, the other key piece of this system is right here. You can't quite see them. There's a couple of AC adapters that I've got sitting down here. So the way that it works is I interface these super low power AC adapters into my Grow Hub here, into the 3rd and the 4th outlets, and I plug that in to the relay, each one for the AC and one for the heater. And what this allows me to do is use a very low power device, this AC adapter. It's pulling minimal power, but when you apply that power to the bottom here of the relay, it energizes the relay, controls the switch, and that's what I've got here with these lines of BX. This is my this top one would be the heater line, this bottom one would be the AC. Now, normally these are going to sit covered and whatnot because there's exposed electricity there. And just word of caution, guys, if you are thinking of trying something like this, I do have a video up that goes a little bit more in depth over on my channel. But use an electrician if you don't know electricity, because you will kill yourself potentially. There is dangerous voltages here, high current devices, that sort of thing. So you got to be really careful. But that being said, an electrician would come and wire this up for you an hour, cost you $100 maybe. But ultimately, it's
Way
just
better than losing your life or your hand.
well, exactly. So that's the idea. Is I could have 4 devices on here, and they could be technically unlimited power. They could be 10,000-watt devices. It doesn't matter, because as long as I've got a relay over here that can handle the power, and you just use whatever little switching device to use it. And these things are really, really flexible. So it's a super simple system, but it allows me to basically expand and control all the things that I need to in my unique Canadian landscape space here, where it's quite cold at least 6 months of the year. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to stop sharing here now. And guys, again, over on my channel, it's a few months back, I've got a video that talks about this. It's one of my Gear Rant episodes. But we'll get a link. I think we can post it up in the description here after we're done today.
Yeah.
But we'll go back here. I just want to see if we've got any questions coming up in the chat. So
Yeah, thank you for that, Matt. And that's one thing I want to touch on, is that out of the box, obviously the Niwa is like a controller, right? I mean,
absolutely.
this is, it's really, obviously this is for testing purposes, but not for use. I have my other room for that. But out of the box, yeah, it has a limitation like a lot of other controllers do. But like Mac has proven, which is really like an amazing use case, is because we get emails all the time, ACs and all that. Of course, there's 2 things. Relays are so beneficial, because even when you have an AC unit that may say it's pulling 7 amps, the inrush current may be way more. So like, oh, I'm good at 7 amps. And then every time it turns on, it's pushing 12, 14. And I know it's for like a millisecond, but if the outlet is only allowed for 10, it will hold on for dear life and then pop eventually. And everything, we get a lot of emails. Oh, it's a 7 amps. It's a little misleading. I know, like with some of the heaters, they say 750/1500 watts on low and high. Some of those, particularly the heater AC, could be really tricky because they don't really tell you the inrush current. They just make you what it's pulling, when it's working. Which I feel that they definitely need to be a little more disclosing. So it's, when you have a controller, you don't get disappointed. So stuff like what Matt's doing, 4,000 watts. That's probably the record right now for the Niwa on wattage, which is great, because I think you've had it for 5 months or something.
Oh, something like that. Yeah, since the summer there, and I love it, man. It's just the VPD stuff is just love it. So awesome. It allows me to really just dial everything in the way that I want it to, and of course the logging and the control, all the stuff, the cell phone. Perfect. Just perfect. And there's other devices out there that can do this kind of stuff. But you're going to be buying like multiple units and sort of cobbling them together. And I think Amazon just got here with my package.
Yeah. So in this case, ask a question: would the controller be good for a 2x4 tent? I would say that is if you look at the Jeremy from Build a Soul, who does a 10x10 series, you've got a 3x4, but you also have like a 20 by something in your setup, right?
Yeah, well, there's the veg tent here that sits beside me, and this is a 3x4. And that, like in that space, I really just have a little bit of humidity control going off that. But, certainly having full control like I do out in the big space.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I would say 10x10 and less is great, because at the end of the day, when you get into bigger rooms, it's not a matter of the Niwa can handle or not. You need equipment that can move the air and regulate the environment better. So like, at the end of the day, it's kind of out of Niwa's control, or the Grow Hub, when you got a 20x20, because you're going to have to be managing a lot more, cubic feet or meters if you're in Canada. I don't know if you use cubic meters, so I'm just guessing. It might be, I don't know if you're in the metric system or not. At any rate, yeah, 2x4 is perfect. And I think 10x10 and less is optimal. But people have in their basement, you have to be careful what equipment you want to use to manage that amount of space, because more times than not, you'll need a relay for managing a big room,
Oh yeah, certainly. And then, like I say, my unique scenario is that I'm actually in the garage, so I don't have an insulated house where I've got the tent sitting there. Like in that sort of example, you wouldn't need to go to the extremes that I do. But just to touch off what you mentioned earlier too about having some headroom for the device, the relays that I'm using, even though I'm driving a 15 amp and a 20 amp device, I've got 25 amp relays in there to allow for just things like that inrush current, that surge, and make sure that I don't have any issues. But then in addition to that, there are some heat sinks because we are moving lots of power through these devices. But again, if you guys have questions or concerns, you can always hit me up on my channel or email me photosyntech1@gmail.com. Be happy to talk about it. But just please, if you're at all or inexperienced with electricity, just call an electrician. They'll come and wire this stuff
so
up
have
for you.
so have baked asked a question. What are the minimal on-off intervals on the Niwa? There's not a minimum because, well, essentially you decide on your own settings, right? So the on-off comes in different forms. So when you have your lighting and your watering schedule, you could have multiple cycles for your lighting, and then for your watering, you have 4 cycles. So which is something to change in the next update to cycle timing for the watering. Right now, you could choose, 4 cycles, 802, 1002, what have you. So the on-off for the watering and the lighting will be based on what you want. If you want your lighting on at 6 p.m. and close at 10 p.m., well, it's going to turn off and on, 2 times. If it's watering, then there'll be that. That's for those 2 particular pieces of equipment. So I get excited with my hands. It's the Italian in me, so shaking things around. And the humidifier, dehumidifier, heater, those are going to turn on also as needed based on regulating the environment. Now, what we do is we create like a dead zone, right? So if the humidity is 5% and the temperature is 0.5, so there's a little bit of 5%, 5 percentage points swing on the humidity. So they're not turning on and off so constant. So because obviously in the real world, your window's open or something happens or the environment fluctuates. So we don't want to overrun your equipment when it's not necessary. Just want to make sure that I answered that question. So that's kind of the on-off will be determined. Now, in the next update, you'll have cycle timing for your fans and your watering. So if you want your fan on for 30 minutes, off for 30 for 24 hours, well, then you're going to have a lot on off, right? And so the intervals will be increasing. So you have a lot of control on that. And I just want to make sure I answer this question. So.
Yeah, we got it.
Cool.
We got it. Yeah.
All right. Without my glasses, like this is. I usually work on the TV because I got bad eyes. So I want to make sure. But which is great is that like there's so much more versatility that we have cooking. We have one in the oven right now. A bunch of updates to give you more versatility with your equipment that you're using. Basically managing how they operate within your garden. And there's a whole lot more. Obviously, I mentioned a couple that are in the final round of the long-term testing. So hopefully by the turn of the year, they're up and out to the public. So.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I love about working with you guys is you've got that avenue for feedback. And it's not just falling on deaf ears. You take it and you look at it and you see what can be done with it. How do we get that again, Zach?
Yeah. So if you email us at founders@getniwa.com, then you can always give your critiques. Of course, when people are existing customers, we log all those things in our support tickets that mention items. So we actually have like a feedback log, and it's not like an exact science of how many mentions we get, but when something starts creeping up to the top, we start to analyze how long it's been developed and we put into action more, which is basically where the fan. So in your grow recipe for those that are current customers, you have your watering, your lighting, and your climate. There's gonna be a fourth, which would be ventilation, and then you'll be able to manage your fans even more. What I mentioned earlier, not just when the temperature is high, but no, I want it on X minutes. Act often over a certain period of time. So that's something that like we put into motion. So please, if you're an existing customer, of course, or not, like we want to hear the critiques because our team does not have the years of the community because like our history was really with the small greenhouse garden was, yes, people grew autoflowers, but that was like 10 people. It was really about eating herbs and small vegetables and stuff. So when we switch gears, there's a lot for us to learn from. So yes, founders@getniwa.com. You can always give us your insight if you're existing or not existing customer. Because at the end of the day, the product needs to represent the behavior of growers and try to, be an appropriate value for all the different setups that people have. 2x2, Canada, Miami, whatever it may be, right? So yeah, we're open book on that in that regard.
All right, looks like we got another question there in the chat. This one's coming from Mr. Timothy's Crab Shack. How's it going there, Tim? Any plans for expanded units with more plugs?
Right. So I think there's so much opportunity, but and as a partner of the business, I'm just going to be real. Right now, the two things that are software wise, there's like a huge queue, which can always be worked on. Hardware wise, I would say the two that are most probable is adding a CO2 sensor and increasing the amperage per outlet. Right now, it's 15 total and 10 per outlet. We're looking at the ability to increase the outlets to about 16. So although the total will be the same, you won't have those maxed out relays or any fuses that blow out for a larger piece of equipment. It can handle more. So like back to that inrush current comment I made earlier. And then a CO2 sensor adding into the existing sensor module. So we wouldn't have like an additional one of this because the blurred screen. So we would add another one in here. It wouldn't be like two that you'd have. We would just basically, all the new ones would have a CO2 sensor built in. Instead of 3 sensors, you'd have 4. And then, for existing customers, I imagine we do some type of swap out. Again, those two are in development. So I don't want to say a when, but they're the most likely and the ones most likely that we have discussed to come out in 22. My hope is to have a Niwa Grow Hub Pro at one point. I'm just speaking like wish list as someone in the business, like potentially, I don't know. I'm just, again, I don't want to be quote on this. Maybe a 5 outlet 30 amp or something down the road. I don't know how that's going to unravel from a business decision perspective, but we're very much committed to the different levels of home growers. Right now, this is probably that, right? Small to medium, unless you use relays. And then there's definitely out of the box something for, a little bit more powerful users. So I don't rule it out. I just don't know when that would be, though. So
That sounds really exciting. I like the idea of a pro unit too. And it's the flexibility of the unit that I think hits the mark in that you want to do environment, do environment. You want to do lighting and watering, do lighting and watering. You want to do a combination of both, that's fine. And if you need to get a second one because you've got that much going on, you can have multiple devices all connected together in the same app, can't you?
I'm sorry. I was trying to can you repeat that statement.
I was just saying you can have multiple grow hubs on just the one app. You just switch between them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Essentially, you can have about the 5 grow hubs per username in your app. Now you actually have a little more than 5, but we've tested like the app being still flowing really nicely and not stalling or anything. So 5 and 6 is really at the current point the best, the maximum level. For example, Jeremy Build the Soil and some others have like 4. They have they can just toggle between, and each Grow Hub has its own settings, own data, own whatever it may be. It's although they're in the same app and same email username, they're completely different. Like you have one in your basement and one like your veg, your dry, or your basil, your aloe, didn't matter. And they can all run their own recipe, which we recommend. The really best way to use multiple is to have them in different environments. You could put 2 in the same environment, but we don't recommend that. I think it's more useful, beneficial for they represent their own different place and environment. So there's no crossover, and you can really manage them separately. Of course, you could, but we don't recommend it.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I don't
So
see any more questions coming in there. Mistelos, gonna have to make this my next buy for the grow. Absolutely, brother. They're just wonderful devices. And
yeah,
you guys throw out the occasional discount code. I know you've given me one. So
yeah. I mean, I listen. I like to go in these to learn. I'm not like the hardcore, like go buy now. It's not my style. It's not our style. But of course, it is on sale now to the end of the year. If you use the
nice.
code I want a Niwa with the spaces, you can get additional money off. That code is not public. I only release them on the IG lives and stuff. So you asked, so I'm going to say it. Code. Just I want to Niwa with the spaces. It's a little bit more money off than what's being advertised on a website. So if you're interested, but I say this always at the end of any of the lives, make sure this product is good for your garden. I prefer 10 people that have a Niwa that really is benefit to the setup than 10 trying to put a circle into a square where you got too much powerful equipment. You got a 20 by 20 room or like do your diligence. I think it's beneficial for any piece of equipment, not just the Niwa. Whatever you're going to get, the right tool, the right job is kind of the philosophy that I've always had. So, look it up. But as Matt, you've been doing this for years, especially for those that are new. Like, there's a lot of research going into it: budget, size, seasonality, weather, etc. I mean, it's like a lot of work to get that right understanding. So, do your diligence, ask questions before. And of course, if it's right, we want you to be part of the community. But I think it's important to know what's really right for gardening, because the setups, the variety of setups around the world and the country are just, they're endless. Size and seasonality and weather, humidity level. Like here in Florida is different than obviously Canada, and Chicago is different. So I think that's really important as you look into this. So
Just allows for options, right? I mean, that's the thing. Flexibility, options, and there's ways to work around things too if you have a different setup than most.
So Nick Garza, wait, how about Vpd controllers? That's something you would look into? Oh, well, the actually the Niwa is a Vpd controller, because I mean, for those who don't know, Vpd is basically an equation using humidity and temperature, right? So it's understanding, like, those are some of the inputs. And so when you are putting your target for your Vpd and you determine your leaf temperature offset, the Niwa controls are going to, the sensors are going to read the environment first and foremost. Then it's going to use your piece of equipment you've assigned to your outlets to manage that, right? So, for example, if you want a Vpd of 1.4, whatever it may be, and the humidity is a little out of whack, and you have a dehumidifier synced up, well, that's like, oh, the humidity is not where it needs to be to match the Vpd, so therefore I need to drop it. So it's kind of like probably hundreds of if-then statements that the Niwa goes through. And so it is a controller. It's a monitoring controller, because if you have the equipment necessary to monitor the Vpd, then it's going to really focus on hitting that target goal. So
yeah, and you get that all in that nice app with the graph, shows you nighttime and daytime. And just key point too on the VPD too, it's not just numbers in the calculation. It allows for that leaf temperature offset, so you're getting a proper calculated reading in there.
Yeah. And then he asked a question, did you guys figure out that software thing, right? Powder asked. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah. That's so when I first got in the Grow Hub, I had a little bit of trouble with the setup and whatnot. But you guys walked me through that quite easily, and that worked well. We downloaded a little app, and that allowed the setup. And I think that was more my setup, because again, I'm special, man. Like, this thing's going to be pretty much plug and play for most people. But you guys offer tremendous support too. I mean, you were super quick to help me out, and I had zero problems in that regard.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, one of our Achilles heel in the early days was the whole 5G, 2G thing. And, there's also a lot of misunderstanding of what 5G represents in the world of technology, because 5G for streaming, watching TV and whatever your computer, versus 2 and 5G with IoT or with cellular towers. They're not all one and the same. 2G is better for distance. If you're in the basement, if you're down the hall, like obviously the garden's not sometimes always in your office, like some people. So you want to have that reliability to know that the distance will be taken care of with the 2G. Now, of course, for some people, they had to go into the settings and disable the 5G temporarily. Our team is not ignoring that. I mean, there are ways to log all these different libraries without getting too technical to make sure that is more compatible. We have improved the advanced mode dramatically. We're not going to stop improving it, but yes, be transparent. Some will have to disable the 5G. We've had, I think, like 3 customers or 4, at least the ones that I've interacted with, that only had a 5G router. 2 got new ones. 2 said, F it. Totally understand. Like, we are not going to ignore that. I mean, obviously we're improving as fast as we can, but mostly as valuable as we can. If you go too quick in software development, that's when you get a lot of bugs out there. So yeah, that is a thing. It's a thing that's out there. You're going to read about it. Like, I'm not going to bullshit the community. Like, some will have to, some will be 5 seconds. And there'll be no issue. And then people have to go in the settings, and people don't even know where to find the router settings, which a lot of the time our team asks for the model of the router, and we'll go find that as well, because it's something that we can ignore only sometimes at this point. So
Yeah, and I've had to do a lot of network troubleshooting stuff in my day, and the way you guys handle the situation and step people through it, and then your knowledge in dealing with it, it's quite refreshing. It makes it easy. And that's the thing. It makes it easy.
yeah,
And that's my whole experience with the Grow Hub has been makes it easy.
yeah.
And that's probably the best way that I'd put it.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be hiccups. I mean, like product was launched a year ago, it has come a long way. I guess what's exciting is that like the long queue of features that people want are doable without increasing costs and adding hardware. I mean, I only talk about 3 of them, but the next update there'll be like 6 new things, and community connection, sharing recipes. I mean, versatility with your equipment, adding 2 lights versus just 1 light. I mean, I can go on and on. Things are doable without cost increase and hardware. At least where we stand now. Hopefully chips don't jump 80%.
Yeah.
I don't want to be quoted on that. And a year from now, I'll be like, why is it 219? I was like, we're not at a chip crisis. At least for us, we aren't. So at the end of the day, I mean, I'm excited because there's so much more that we know we can do that is doable without making it more expensive and adding more complexity. So that's just something we have to truck through. The one thing about, for people these features take some time. I had to answer this question a lot lately, so I just want to tackle it. Like, you have to do a feature. If I have an app that is, turning my light on, okay, it turns on. But if I have an app that's managing a garden, what's the average time someone grows? It's not 2 days. It's not 10 days. 45, 65 days, depending, autoflower maybe. So that means if I have a feature that's going to manage something, it's got to be in motion for like at least 80% of the average time. So if I code something in a week, or our team, I don't code, I don't have patience for that. Our team codes, they have to put that into place for 45 days. Then you hit a bug, boom, another 45 days minimum.
Yeah, regression testing, good times.
I mean, we try to compress it, and I'm not getting down that rabbit hole because it is a long rabbit hole, and we're not in a for development Zoom meeting. So anyway, I just wanted to maybe get some insight into that. So
Right on.
Okay, cool. Well, good. I mean, we got a lot of people here. I mean, it's exciting to allow us to listen to us rant and answer questions. But yeah, so just any or if you have technical questions, you can email the support to get Niwa. We can if you have like the list of equipment that you want to like us to kind of look into a little bit more. People do that quite often. Again, the worst things to do is that isn't be thought of, and you have a bad experience that could have been avoided. I mean, obviously we want that, and you want that, and to avoid that. So, yeah, I think that's kind of a good amount, unless there's some other questions from anyone. But I think,
I think we touched all the bases there. Anyway, that's usually when the questions sort of slow down. So,
yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, my attention span is good for 30 minutes. So,
nice. All right. Well, just one more comment there from The Naked Gardener. And guys, if you haven't seen his channel, go check out. He's new to my community, but I think we might have to have him on Meet the Grower real soon. Bit of a character, that guy.
Yeah, it seems so, yeah. I love Yes, he's like philosopher, I feel like.
Yeah, I like it. All right, Zach, well, what do you figure there, pal?
I think we're good. I think everyone, it's Friday, so everyone's ready to, go chill. Yeah, I know I am here on the East Coast. Got 4 more hours here, and then happy everyone joined on a Friday afternoon, whatever time zone you're in, especially the one in Israel. I think if I do my calculations right, it's 9 p.m. there, only because I have friends in Tel Aviv, so I know it's 9 hours, so 7 hours. It's 9 p.m. So I appreciate for those coming from overseas. Yeah, I think we're good. Then we covered. Again, founders@getniwa.com. And then, Matt, your email is
Photosyntech1@gmail.com.
I knew it was, but I didn't want to scoop the number.
Right on.
So,
all right, sir. Well, I think that's it then. We'll call her a draw here. And guys, thanks for watching.